One little note, and I'm not sure if it's a note of dread or what the technical word is that I'm looking for, but there's this certain part of me that since Indiana lost, I really just don't want to see Gonzaga be a number one team. And Gonzaga right now is number 2, and especially if Duke loses to Miami Saturday, then they would probably be the number 1 team in the country. This is the problem that I have with Gonzaga being number 1. They're not a bad team. Kelly Olynyk is a good big man. He's combined the finesse and the strength to really be an upper echelon college player. The problem that I have with Gonzaga being a number 1 team is they haven't played anybody. And I always hear these people talking about or asking why big schools don't schedule other big schools and big teams and good teams in their out-of-conference play. This is why. Because apparently you can be a number 2 team in the country by just winning against a bunch of nobodies. You can't. Gonzaga's proven it, and they could be potentially the number 1. What this shows me and what this shows other schools all across the country is this. You're considered to be a better team, and you're going to get a higher seed in the NCAA tournament if you play a cupcake schedule from November to March, and you just beat everybody, as opposed to from November, December, January, scheduling 3, 4, 5 good teams and then playing in a tough conference. It's not the message that I want showed or shared with the rest of college sports, and I think a lot of my audience would agree with me, because you would rather see good teams play against other good teams and prove themselves, and that's the beef that I have with Gonzaga. Right now they haven't played really anybody, and thus haven't beaten anybody that's probably going to make any noise in the NCAA tournament. A couple of good games, though, coming up this weekend. As I mentioned, Miami at Duke. It's going to be a nice rematch between these two teams who've already met once this season. In the previous matchup, Miami just went absolutely ballistic on their home court, winning 90 to 69. Be interesting to see how the Blue Devils respond and if they can really win this game, if they have a chance to leapfrog Gonzaga for that number 1 overall spot. Another big matchup, this is a local rematch between U of L and Syracuse. If you remember, the Cardinals lost to the Orange in their last meeting 70 to 68. It was a close game all the way through. I look for Louisville to win this rematch primarily because I just think Louisville has a better team. The key for them is going to be the backcourt. That 2-3 zone that Syracuse plays really tends to fluster guards and limits the amount of penetration that they can have. If Peyton Siva and Russ Smith and whoever else plays in the backcourt on that given day play well, then the Cardinals should win. If they don't, then they are going to run the risk of Syracuse sweeping them in the regular season. Another interesting matchup, Portland at Gonzaga. And the reason I throw this in is because Gonzaga has a chance of being the number 1 overall team. It'll be interesting to see if they play mentally or if they just come out ready to go. If they play with the notion that they can get that number 1 seed and they're more focused on that than actually playing the team that's in front of them, they have the danger of slipping up and falling to a much lesser opponent. But if they come out and just play how they have been all season long, then I see no reason why they can't walk away with a win here. Another Big East matchup, going back to that conference, Notre Dame at Marquette. And this has the capability to shake up the top spots in that conference even more. Notre Dame, as of now, has a good chance of being in that top 4, which I've mentioned time and time again is just critically important in any conference that has a double bye scenario. You want to get that. Notre Dame and Marquette both have a chance of doing that. One of them is going to walk away with a better chance of getting that double bye, and one's going to be probably on the outside looking in. Be interesting to see who wins that game. I think Marquette walks away with this win, though. I'm very impressed so far with what Vander Blue has done. He's a very, very good player. Marquette's got a very good team. Should be a close game. Notre Dame has a tendency to keep them close. Louisville fans will remember that 5 overtime loss earlier in the season. But I think Marquette's got the better team. They're at home. The Golden Eagles should get a win. Final big game coming up, and this one actually comes up on Sunday and not Saturday like the other games. Michigan State at Michigan. I have absolutely loved this Michigan Wolverines team. I think they're probably the best team in the Big Ten right now, but it's a team that tends to have disappearing stars in Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. They need to come out and they need to play well against an in-state rival. If they play well, Michigan's sitting at number 4 in the AP right now. And if Duke loses, and since Indiana's already lost, they could potentially leapfrog Gonzaga for a number 1 spot. They're definitely going to get higher in the AP if they win this game, or at the very worst, they're not going to go anywhere. They need to win this game, though. They need to prove that they're an upper echelon team in the Big Ten, because if they win this game and then go and win the Big Ten like I think they will, they might be in the case for not just a number 1 seed, but the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. That's going to do it this week for the Kentucky Kid. Thank you for joining me. Keep an eye out, especially on college basketball. It's really getting to be that great time, the March Madness that we all look forward to. Till next week, though, I'm Kelly Berry. God bless everyone.